Yeah, what up, man? Conversations, high level metaphysical conversations. What part are we on? 7, right? Or 6? No, we did 5.5, so we're moving on to 6. Okay, so 6 is probably going to be a long one because there were a couple of topics I wanted to discuss, but not I wanted to. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. That need to be spoken about. But I chose to go for angels and demons. Okay, so let's start with that point because it'll segue nicely into some other stuff. Okay. So I hope that you have made your comprehensive list of your fleshy bollocks and ego-based stuff and sacrifice them, or at least started sacrificing them. If you haven't, it'll be a good idea to actually leave now, because this point forward it gets pretty kind of, yeah. You know, when you're doing like your training, say you join the military or whatever, and you know, yeah, it's getting to that point. Okay, so angels and demons, it's just a matter of frequency. Yeah, it's just a matter of where you are resonating at. Yeah, what you're resonating with. So just like tuning forks or radios is the same principle. So we've discussed this, that God being in heaven with his angels is just a simplified way of discussing the human or life condition on earth. Maybe if you want to call it the episode before our episode, feel free. But essentially that's what's happening. So God himself sits on a throne. He is outside of, you know, the dimension. We don't know anything about God actually. All we know is we know stuff about the angels. We know like the general stuff, like he's kind, he's love, he's this, he's that, but we don't know anything about him in terms of physical appearance or whatever, or anything like that, right? Because we can't know. You know, anytime he's kind of like manifested, it's been a flame or a, you know, something like metaphysical. It's never been actual form. The voice booming out of the sky stuff is bollocks, okay? Anyway, so when you think about that from that perspective, you realize, okay, cool. So we have the angels, but angels even have archetypes, right? Just like humans have archetypes. Yeah, archetypes are written into our code. Nobody can engineer it. Yeah. So if I took women from Africa, Asia, all over the world, took men from all these other places as well, and we put them in isolation somewhere and they had kids, and we just observe the kids, the archetypes will show, right? They will show. And even if we did that for another generation, it will be unfair and unethical, I know. But say we were able to do that, the archetypes will show once again, because it's within us. Yeah. Just like the same way when, you know, a dog has a litter, you know, there's always the dominant puppy or the puppy that's a little bit, you know, the one that's, you know, needs a bit more TLC. Like it happens. It's just the way it is. Yeah. The archetypes exist. No puppy's better than the other. They just expressing differently. So in the same way, the angelic kind of, core, if you like, you have your kind of like archangels, which, you know, the 4 archangels that we hear about all the time. And then you hear about other angels, and then kind of like the main mass, you don't really hear about them. Yeah. They're just standard angels, expressing in their own ways, doing their own things, you know, and life goes on. Cool. When Lucifer, who was also, he can be thought of as maybe one step even higher than an archangel. I look at Lucifer, which is also us, as kind of like the most complete angel, but also the most corrupted, or the most likely to be corrupted. Yeah. It's just the way it goes. The story about Lucifer is actually a story about us. Yeah. I keep telling you, the devil's nowhere but within you. He's not outside. He's not in hell. You won't find him there. So anyway, Lucifer falls the same way humanity is also made, but with the Adam and Eve story, it's slightly written differently, right? So you have Adam, who's literally like number one. Adam will be like, the closest example would be Lucifer in the grand scheme of things, because all the other creations were there. Yeah, we don't need 10,000 men in order for us to have the whole play of life on earth, right? He was the one that was closest to God, similar to Lucifer, blah, 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 blah. He fell also, yeah? And him falling, the same kind of thing that happens with the Lucifer story happens with Adam as well. Because what does Lucifer do? Lucifer goes to, gather his group, gets his buddies and like, yeah, we're gonna, right? In the same way, as kind of life progresses from the Cain and Abel line, you see a division within the body, yeah, where there's like one line goes this way, the other line goes this way, right? They are not actual physical people. They're just paths, yeah, that consciousness can go on to experience life here. So if you go down one path, the righteous path, life would be pretty chill. You'd be having the full experience, right? If you go down the destructive path, life will be hellish. That's the whole code. Now, in the modern times, modern era, people talk about demons and demonic possessions and stuff like that, right? It's all, there are no demons possessing anybody. The demons don't come from anywhere. It's you in your animal state. You're just kind of like exhibiting that. You're showing that aspect of you. Yeah. I know people say they hear voices. I know you've seen videos, I'm sure, of exorcisms and stuff. That stuff's fake anyway. A lot of it's fake. But there are some that you look at, you think, this looks pretty compelling. I remember I saw a video once. A guy was in a courtroom being sentenced, and he literally went into this weird state, and he was almost like kind of growling at the judge. It was really bizarre to watch. Really, really bizarre. It was almost like the animal was in full control of his body at that time. And there is a psychological thing that happens at this point, because you have to realize that, yes, there are two sides of you. Yeah, you are spirit and flesh. We've gone over this, right? You are Cain and Abel at the same time. Okay, you are Cain and Abel at the same time. Now, when Cain is driving and you're doing hellish things, Cain can speak for you. It can speak out of your body. Cain can act. Yeah, Cain and his minions can act. Use your body to act. And that's why people talk about things like disembodied spirits. They're looking for a body. They're not looking for a body. They're looking for consciousness to animate. They're looking for consciousness in a body for them to animate. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for a body. A body is useless. So that's what they refer to. So those elements, instead of you thinking about, oh, there are spirits floating in the ether looking for a body to just jump in and come and possess you. No. The actual demons, right, are floating in your own mind, looking for an opportunity to seize your body. My people, bro, like, we're a family here. You know the deal. There's nothing happening outside, man. I keep telling you, I know it's hard to, but yeah, anyway, I have to keep chipping. Let me keep chipping. Soon it'll be clear. So in that recognition, the demons are not actually outside of you. They're not, because whatever actions or things you do or decisions you make, which will bring you face to face with the demon, is everything's all pre-done upstairs. Yeah, it's pre-done upstairs, and it's pre-calculated upstairs, and it's pre-experienced upstairs, and it is also experienced upstairs. Demonic possession can't be experienced on the outside. It's experienced on the inside. Yeah. That's why people feel like, oh, I wasn't even controlling my body. They're right. They're absolutely right. They're absolutely right. But the consequences they have to still pay for. And if it, like I told you, you still come back and pay for it. It's just the way it goes. So when I say that the ghosts of these kind of like demons are floating in your body, right? It's just an image. There are no such things. But essentially, what I'm trying to tell you is this. Because it's you are Cain and Abel at the same time, right? And you're God and the devil, you're physical and animal, physical and God at the same time, right? You got to realize that every single possible frequency, every single possible configuration of animal that is in existence, you have the power to animate because you are God. Let me explain what I mean. Even the very fact that we can act like people, yeah, when you act, oh, he's a really good actor. What do you think he's doing? Let's talk about this. What do you think he's doing in that moment? He's replicating. Yes. Okay, cool. That's a good way to look at it. He's mimicking. That's good. He's tapping into that person's, character, energy, essence, right? That's why people go and study the people they want to act as, right? What are they studying? They're studying the things about the person. Good. Yes. But what is it they are studying? What are they studying? They're studying the configuration of that being. They're studying the specific frequency of that being. Because if you dress like Donald Trump and you have an English accent, it's not going to work. You have to dress like him and speak like him, move like him. If your hair is dreads, it won't work. Your hair has to also be like his. So it's like you're mimicking his frequency. That's what the configuration is all about. It's a specific frequency. Acting in itself is tapping into a frequency. The very acting, yeah? The TV people, movie people. That's what it is. When you act like an animal, like you're playing with your kids and stuff, you're tapping into that animalistic thing. Where is it? It's in your own mind. You have the ability to do that because the animal side of you comes with all that information already there. It's in there. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So with all that information in there, now we're going to stop here and we're going to go on a little tangent just to show you something. So if we look across the human kind of all the expressions of humanity on earth, right? We know that there are ultra tall people, giants almost, and they look very specific. Regardless of where you go in this world, yeah, a super tall person from Africa, a super tall person from the Middle East, super tall person from fucking Russia, a super tall person from Australia, a super tall person from fucking South America. They all have very similar characteristics, regardless of their race. They almost look alike, right? So it can be agreed that there is a genetic code, there is a code within our config that can express as these ultra tall people, but this current iteration of reality doesn't suit them. So they struggle to actually live here. Everything is painful for them to move. The air, the concentration of the air is different. Trust me, everything, it's like being a character and you've just spawned in the wrong kind of world. It'll be hard to live, bro. It'll be hard to live. That's what's happened to them. The same goes for the tiny midget people. I know people think it's offensive, but I'm just trying to describe dwarf people. It's not offensive. I'm just describing the fuck. The dwarf people, yeah, is the same. It's the same, bro. So that means that there's a configuration for different types of human beings, right? Okay. So then if we can recognize that there are different there are possibilities, right, of different iterations of us that are completely like a break from the norm of how we're currently expressing, you have to recognize that this is not God's first run around on earth, bro. I'm just letting you know, bro. Okay. Now, you have to also realize that it's fair to also realize that, okay, sometimes people are born with two heads. We call them Siamese, right? And we say maybe it's down to, what do you call it? Chemicals and stuff like that, right? But people are born with all sorts of different kind of like deformities all over the world. They'll blame it on different things, right? But what if there was a previous iteration of mankind where there was a lot of people walking around with two heads? You can't take that off the table, my guy. I'm telling you, you can't, because the biology doesn't stack up, bro. You can't tell me that your man-made chemical caused the person to have two heads. How do you know? Because how is it? No, listen. Your medicine or your Agent Orange or whatever chemical you've produced, yeah, is not the thing that can cause a person to have two heads. If that's the case, then why are we not seeing animals with two heads everywhere in that same place? And why are we having people, Siamese twins, born in different parts of the world? What if there was another time, yeah, in this iteration called humanity, where there were loads of people that were like fused together? The Adam and Eve, the Cain and Abel aspects of them were actual two heads in one body. You cannot take that off the table, bro. Simple facts. God doesn't make accidents, bro. God doesn't make mistakes. Humans do, animals do, because we're awkward and goofy. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. So that means that there are countless possibilities within our physical frame. Countless ways we can express. Yeah? Okay. So it's very possible that we've expressed before with wings. Yeah. Very possible. Maybe it was a long time ago, but very possible. Because the code, some parts just get locked off and send to create a different configuration. That's what configuration is, bro. Because if I'm disarming that and enabling this, then the equation will express differently, right? Okay. So, although they are metaphoric stories, the Bible and all the rest of it, the codes are there because it's true. That's why some of these stories, even though we know that the characters are not real, the core message is true. We feel it. Yeah, because truth is something you feel. Okay, so that means that all these possible iterations, right? All this possible information is floating around inside of you somewhere, somehow. Yeah? A supergiant, a fucking person with wings, a fucking demonic person, all of it. So even if we were to look at the angel story and say, okay, it's because it's possible, no one can, it's very possible and very plausible. No one can take that off the table that a previous iteration of what we are could have expressed with wings. The same way we have giants and small people and Siamese and yeah, 1,000,000%. You can't take that off the table because it's like a witch's brew of all sorts of stuff, and God just fucking scoops up and is like, ooh, okay, so that's the current one configuration. It could take some stuff out, and then yeah. So, but everything's within that pot. Okay, so all those entities, yeah, without bodies, are within you, and you also see them in the screen of your reality. Yeah. Okay. Even in movies, it extends into movies because that's also another situation experience loop. It's all the same one reflection. Yeah, because if you're looking at a reflection and you're watching a movie in that reflection, the things you see in the movie are also probably, okay. So it's bro, you're dreaming. Yeah, I just have to come and tell you, but I just have to phrase it in different ways to basically activate different parts of your thing. So that means all those disembodied things and energies are within your frame, right? Now, park that for a second. We spoke about acting, yeah? And mimicking a person's frequency dead on, right? So let's say one day you're looking at your son do something. Sometimes I catch my son doing things that I do exactly the same. I'm like, wow. It's like literally watching a movie of my own self in real time. It's literally crazy, you know? They all do different things that are like so me, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy, right? Because my configuration, there are parts of my configuration directly inside of them. So naturally, when they're being themselves, they vibrate on that frequency. You see it. It manifests in the 3D. I see it. That's why people can even comment, oh, you're just like your dad, or, you know, oh, he's a, yeah. You're describing frequency. You do that just like your dad. It's a frequency you're describing. Okay. So that means if somebody can express outwardly their actions, through their actions and appearance, etc., it can be said that they are on the same frequency as said person, right? That's why somebody, oh, he looks just like so-and-so. His outward appearance, the frequency is very similar to so-and-so. That's what you're saying in another way. But here we speak metaphysics, so that's what you're saying. So it's like if let's say Kanye West, right? His frequency, for argument's sake, is 808, that's or 88.8, If you know Kanye's albums, you know what I tried to do there. So that's Kanye's frequency is 80.8, that's Kanye West's frequency. Now somebody that looks like Kanye West, very, very, like, physically, on the outside, the outside frequency of 80.8, it can be said that that person's very close to 80.8, right? Agree? Okay, cool. Now let's say the person doesn't look like Kanye West. That means their outward appearance, the frequency is different. Guys, I keep telling you, you're literally looking at a world of code. I've seen it. There's nothing there. It's just codes and you fill it out. Okay. The person, now let's say there's a person, Chinese guy, who doesn't look anything like Kanye West, but he talks like Kanye. So Kanye's speaking frequency of 80.8, he's got that. He acts like Kanye, moves like Kanye, walks like Kanye, right? It can be said that his outward appearance is not, it's a frequency, I can't speak, it's a frequency mismatch, right? But how his energy, his configuration internally is 80.8, just like Kanye West. It can be agreed, right? Okay, we're getting somewhere. Now, with all those things in mind, you can act, copy a frequency, copy a configuration, the disembodied entities and energies are all within you because we have a myriad, infinity ways of expressing, and it's all within the flesh, which we all have, right? Just because you're expressing as so-and-so doesn't mean that you can't express as such and such. Yeah? Okay. Now, let's say somebody's being very charitable, very kind, like let's say there was somebody that was super, super kind in our sort of like historical text, right? Let's say people will usually say Teresa or something or Diana or someone like that. I don't know. I don't know anything that any charity that's got cameras around it. I don't believe it. I think it's bollocks. But that's just my 2 cents. But let's say in your own micro world, let's say your dad is super kind, right? He's super chill, super kind, right? And now let's say that your son starts to act very similar to your dad in terms of how he's kind. You say that, oh, you know what? You're just like him, which they're referring to the frequency. You're just like him in how kind you are. You're just like him. There's a frequency match there. Hold on to that thought. Now, let's say somebody, gets drunk and disruptive and they have a reference point. You say that they're just like that drunk person, or somebody is a murderer or a rapist or whatever. Now you start to see the frequency matches. Okay. So those disembodied energies, that are animalistic in nature, want to get drunk, want to get lusty, want to get fucking rapey, want to get fucking killing people and all this other stupid stuff. It's all within, Now, when that person's acting it out, we might not know a current reference point. So we will say that they are demonically possessed, but there is a reference point. There's a frequency he's locked into. There is an energy he's locked into. He's expressing an energy, So on the 3D, it looks like, oh, he's just God has already created everything, The spectrum has already been created. God is not creating any more things, That's why I tell you, don't force the hand of God or this stupid manifestation bollocks. Like, anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is you have to look at it this way. So from the outside, it will look like this person is just a murderer, he's just a killer, he's just an evil person, right? Because we don't have a reference point to match it, yeah? But let's say somebody does some serial killer type stuff. Because we have a historical text on, oh, so-and-so was a serial killer, we might say, oh, he's the new Ted Bundy, or he's the new this, or his style is like that, or da-da-da-da-da, right? Failing to realize that that frequency of Ted Bundy is already in that guy. That frequency of killing is already in that guy. That murderous spirit is already in that guy. They're all there, right? They're all there. He's just expressing it. He's let one of those disembodied things take over his body, because you can only be in flesh when you do those things. You can't be in a higher state of consciousness and kill somebody. Never. It can't happen. It can't happen. There is no justification for it. There's no justification for rape. It can't happen. Your brain your consciousness can't even go there, because you recognize all is one. So what are you actually doing to another is to yourself is stupid, right? So all those energies are within. They're all within. So when you look at these grimoires and, you know, these, what they call Goetia books or whatever, I can't pronounce the word, Ask Goetia 1 and the 6 and 7 books of Moses and Solomon and stuff like that, the lesser keys and stuff like that. I mean, I've read some of them, you know, looked in, because for me, if I always say, if I speak about it, then I know about it. I read one of them. I can't remember. It might have been the Ask Goetia one. I didn't read it extensively, but I just wanted to see how it was all put together and stuff like that, and just gain an understanding of it, you know, with the sigils and, you know, some of them will show you what the demons look like, and they're all like part human, part animal, you know, so you might get a demon. I don't know which one. I can't remember the images, but I remember some of the names. But say, for instance, Asmodeus or whatever. I can't remember what he looks like, but let's say he's got a big head and then his body is like an octopus and then a lion head or 2 lion heads or whatever and whatever. It looks crazy when you look at the image, right? But let's not forget, we are the same thing that can express as giants, it can express as dwarfs, it can express as angels, can express as Siamese, can express as any fucking thing, including that thing. So it's not a magical creature somewhere, bro. It's within you. It's a possible configuration. How that knowledge is out in the open, I don't know. I can't explain. I don't know how. There are probably some people that have used their mystical powers the wrong way, and they delved into the darker side and they saw some of these things. It's very, very plausible. Some people use their mystical powers to actually look at their reality and tell people, hey, move this way. You know, it's just the way it is. So I can't fathom how that information is there. But essentially, they're telling you that these are possible configurations within yourself. Once you lock into that frequency and you feed that frequency, you have to act like it. Just like how you're acting like the person that you're going to play on the screen, you know, like the movie and TV people, or just like a kid that's mimicking their dad or whatever. You have to mimic that energy. Especially because it's unrelated to you. Like, even with like a kid, sometimes it's just the way, it's just because they're your child, they look like you, right? But sometimes your mannerisms, they because you're with them, they learn it. They're observing you all the time. So in their consciousness, that disembodied energy, i.e. you, they are looking at it and they're energizing that part, your mannerisms, and bringing that into reality, into this current 3D. And that's what you're seeing, because they're looking into your frequency, your disembodied energetic frequency, and playing it out in the fucking 3D. That's what's happening. If you lock into a negative energy, a disembodied energy, in the same way, you will express in the 3D. And people say, oh, and the demons will give you this, and they'll give you that, they'll give you this, they'll give you that. Bro, I always wonder this, right? All these voodoo people and dark magic people, like, why can't you create something of substance, bro? Like, this, like, you say you go, this, like, fly and let's see. It's always in a dark room. Nobody can see it. The experience is just yours. You're the only person that saw it. You know, come out and do some Harry Potter shit. Like, cast a spell, bro, and let something happen right there. You know, you people in your manifest bollocks, go and manifest some cash. Like a whole fucking shed full of cash. Because the thing that's doing all the creation and the magical powers is consciousness. You are just using it the wrong way. Because no entity, no frequency has power in of itself. They're just dead bodies, they're corpses. Only God can animate. You understand? So when somebody locks into a frequency of authenticity, which somehow locks into a disembodied energy, which is noble, yeah, people will say, it can be referred to persons like Angel Michael. You know, they are almost expressing that in this current reality, because if, let's say, that angel is noble and you're expressing that, it's almost like you're locked into that frequency. So that's what you actually express out in the 3D. But the beauty of it is you are Michael anyway. And you are the devil too. And all the demons. All of them. They're all within you. God is an alchemist, bro. And God is super fucking intelligent. You can't even imagine. Because the game he's playing, right, with himself, it's like, or itself, it's like alchemy and literal magic. Like literal magic, bro. I'm going to give you this configuration. Look at, imagine this, what do you call it? Whether you imagine as a petri dish or a beaker or whatever it is, different configurations of things, right? You know, there's stardust in there, there's fucking fangs, there's fucking there's everything, every possible permutation is in there. And then sometimes it might take some stuff out and put some stuff in, take some stuff out, put some stuff in. Look, I love biology, yeah? And when you look at the kind of like classification from Linnaeus and other people that have done work on classification, it's bollocks, bro. It's bullshit. You know, the whole kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus thing is bullshit, bro. It doesn't fit. It doesn't work. Because animals are actually like it's almost like they're also a full spectrum, bro. It's so beautiful. If you actually know what you're looking for, you will see relations and connections where there's none. And you realize that, oh, in fact, that animal is closer to that animal, even though they're saying that they are, no, that one's more aligned with that one, and that one's more aligned with that one, and it's like that. In the same way, humans, regardless of our outward frequency appearance, whether he's dark skinned or light skinned or white or black or blue or green or who gives a fuck, sometimes you find commonalities across in ways that, in places and ways that you shouldn't find commonalities. It's a fact. It's a fact. It is a fact. There are best friends, yeah? There are people that are best friends that don't even speak the same language. How did that happen? Do you see? So it's about shared connections, bro. It's not about none of this goofy shit, bro. All the other stuff is artificial. You go marry a good, Muslim girl. You go marry a good, it's illusion. You're living someone else's story. How do you know that all Muslim girls are good? How do you know that your past experience is valid in my new reality? It's bollocks, bro. Be free. It's all prison. It's all enslavement. So anyway, back to the script. So the frequencies are out there. They're all within you, right? So when you pick up the fucking Goetia or the grimoires and you're like, oh, I want to invoke this demon, or because I want power and I want to this, or I want to destroy my enemies. Yeah. And you're in a room, yeah? That's the biggest giveaway. They tell you, find a room, go and stand somewhere in the dark by yourself and do this. Bro, you're by yourself. It's literally showing you like you're going to tap in to your inner kind of beast. Yeah. And You're a muppet if you think that you're actually doing anything. You're standing in the dark room by yourself. You've closed the thing, and you've done something, and then you see something that is not even in the physical 3D. Of course, you saw that thing. Yes, you felt that gust of wind. Yes, because you're all things. You are literally convincing yourself. It's self-hypnosis, so you can see the code behind the reality. That's all those books are there for. It's self-hypnosis for you to see beyond the veil that you are all things, and you're using your power to tap into a frequency, to do harm or destruction or get something, whatever, because you're still in flesh. And that's why it never fucking works. Because when you see behind the veil, you're supposed to now realize that you are spirit, not physical. So once you see behind the veil, all right, let me put it this way. If you've gone and done any type of like self-hypnosis, magic type, stupid, goofy shit, right? And you've done it for physical stuff, you're literally the dumbest person in the world. Because at that very moment, you realize that there is spirit and there's flesh. You've done the hypnosis. If you did it properly, you would have known that it's a separation between the physical and the spiritual. You're calling something that's not even here. It's spiritual. You believe it, right? So at this point, you're realizing that there is spirit. Okay. So if you realize that there is spirit, i.e. something that's not here, but it's a force, it's an energy. Why are you using that energy to do stupid things in the physical? Like get women or fucking, it's dumb. Get stuff, get cars and when you just realize that you're the spirit. So if the spirit, what's all the physical stuff for? It's bollocks, it's temporary. So when the devil went around convincing the angels, what did he actually do? He just went and told, it's a story, it didn't happen, whatever. But it's metaphysics. I have to break these things down. So he has now fallen into a state. He's fallen into his flesh, right? And he's now showing his animal nature. And him showing his animal nature, the other angels, through whatever, he went to convince them or whatever, or they had a disposition to fall or whatever. We don't know. We just know that the flesh is there and the flesh it has some agency. Okay, so now the flesh, those have also decided to fall with him. How did they fall with him? Because they also had to tap into their animalistic sides. Because otherwise they wouldn't have fallen. If angels were holy, they would have never fallen. It would have been impossible to fall because you're holy, you're whole. Holy, whole. You're whole with a one. Okay. So they're clearly not. There's been it's consciousness having an angelic experience, part flesh, part spirit. And when they fell, did they not sleep with women? They didn't have children here, so which just tells you that humans had fallen, Adam fell. But even, it's like, it's trying to tell you that it's not something that is, it happens all the time. It's trying to tell you that this is what happens, in this story. Because Adam fell, and even now that he's fallen, he's got his daughters, right? Now, a previous iteration or another iteration, fell, and then they ended up taking his daughters. Is basically an aspect of his own self. Because it's not, where are the angels, bro? Where are the angels? Lucifer wouldn't bow to Adam, right? At least in the Islamic text, Lucifer wouldn't bow to Adam. which is the same way of saying that Adam wouldn't bow to God. Oh, controversial, I know, but it's true. Because by Adam, Eve was the first one. Eve wouldn't bow to God. And my flesh, what do you mean? I'm not bowing. I can... There is no snake. She's in her flesh. She wouldn't bow to God. And she convinced him to also fall into his flesh and not bow to God by taking that fruit. Now, what's happened is the very reflection of Adam not bowing to God, the very reflection of Adam not bowing to God, which is Lucifer not bowing to God, yeah, and his minions are now in Adam's world, sharing Adam's daughters. Tell me I'm lying, bro. This is what metaphysics is. The other stuff is just dog shit, bro. Do you understand? That's what it is. It's one energy, bro. So this whole idea that you keep going out of your head, like, oh, the demons and the angels, the demons, they're all in you, yeah? And every possible permutation that exists is on this fucking reality screen that we see right now, including the made up creatures like our dinosaurs and shit. It all comes from our psyche. They didn't physically live here and stuff like that. Maybe they live in different bubbles in other dimensions. You don't know. It's the same energy that goes everywhere to go and see all these creatures and, you know, creates them in other worlds and stuff like that, you know, and comes here and is like, oh, I'm going to express here with minus that, minus this, changing that, changing. We are in a prison. We're in a bubble of sorts, bro, with some different kind of thing. It's God just having an experience, bro. We are a cell in the body, bro. Just, you're not the ultimate final level boss. You don't regulate shit. I've told you this. You're a part of the whole. Chill out. So when the sons of God, Adam was a son of God too. Don't forget that. So when they say angels, sons of God, is basically talking about Adam's own reflection. When they came here and they had children with the women on earth, yeah, not necessarily Adam's daughters, you know what I mean, and they had children. Some of those children were like very powerful, very, very powerful energetic beings, right? Giants and shit, right? Apparently Goliath was one of them. If you read the Apocrypha, it's kind of like there's a connection there, but I'm not sure. You know, you had like Cyclops and all these things that have existed in our history. You go to like the Mediterranean, there's talk of Cyclops and stuff like that. You know, in the history, there's all these strange kind of iterations of humans that we have in all different parts of the world. You know, all this, this creature, the giants and blah, 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 blah. So there were powerful entities that were created out of this kind of beast time, because the configuration was there. So think about it, right? There is no way that an angel could have had a child with a human and for that human to express as a giant if the giant's code was not in the woman. Because the DNA will have to pair. DNA pairs, they pair. DNA pairs. DNA is a pair of two serpents. It's two things that pair together, spirit and flesh. Yeah. So if they have fallen, now you're looking at flesh, right? Now flesh, but they still have spirit in them, creating beings that are giants. That means the code is in both of them. Otherwise, it can't express. So disembodied spirits and stuff like that are all within you, bro. Don't go and read no book. Nobody's casting out no fucking nothing. Yeah? Sometimes people have fallen so deep in the animal state that they've forgotten. They can't see their way out. And I think that the example I gave at the beginning where the guy was completely like taken over by the thing, right? And I remember reading a book a few years ago. It was a Catholic, some Catholic thing about, it was an exorcist or something. And it was a very interesting book. Very interesting book, actually. Yeah, and I think it was around the time I read the book about the Pope that got killed. Yeah, he was blatantly murdered anyway, but yeah, I think after that, that's when I read it. Anyway, yeah, and I think that sometimes psychologically, people need to be kind of spoken to and led back into the light, you know? Consciousness can do that. Because consciousness sees the reality for what it is. So even in my day-to-day, when I come across people that are like, I know that they're in flesh, even the way they move is so obvious to me. I can see like, so crazy, bro. So yeah, man, denounce the flesh. When you denounce the flesh, all the floating energies, they can't do anything to you, bro. They can only whisper. Can't do anything to you. No demon can harm you. Anyway, I told you, my assignment is every present moment. So yeah, every day. All right, peace.